Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the next exciting installment in the Doctor Who DVD Disambiguation. Today we're going to be talking about Season 25. Yes, the epic 25th anniversary season. Now, back in Season 20, of course, they did the spectacular Five Doctors feature-length special. They had a huge convention in Longleat. Just celebrations all around for the whole 20th anniversary. So, what did they do 5 years later for the 25th anniversary? Well, I mean, there was some cool stuff going on. Obviously, not as big an anniversary celebration, to be honest. I mean, as we know, the show was kind of in trouble and stuff like that. There was a book that was put out about the silver anniversary of the show and whatnot, and lots of sort of mini celebrations going on. But this time around, we didn't get a feature-length special or anything like that. It was more just kind of over the course of the season, we got a lot of nods to the history of the show and whatnot. So let's take a look. Season 25 of the Doctor Who DVD Disambiguation, today on the Multimedia Chronicles. Welcome back. Okay, let's get right into it, shall we? First up we have what is definitely a fan favorite. A lot of people, even the ones that dislike the Seventh Doctor's era, seem to be pretty universally of the opinion that this particular story is the exception. And boy, is it ever a good one. I just rewatched this recently, and I forgot just how good this one actually is. Also features, I mentioned last time, I talked about the music quite a bit in the last three seasons. This has one of my favorite soundtracks out of all of the last 12 stories of the last three seasons of the show. And yeah, I love this. It just has a fantastic soundtrack by Kev McCullough. Talking about story number 152, Remembrance of the Daleks. Yes. Now, this is a very notable story for a number of reasons. I mean, first off, we see some old friends and some old villains come back. We learn the final fate of Skaro. At least the final fate of Skaro as it happened in the classic series. Things have since changed, of course, in the new series. But yeah, for a while there, I mean, one might argue that, speaking of the new series, that a lot of the events that occur over the course of the Dalek series in the classic series, starting with Genesis of the Daleks and going through the other Dalek stories, really formed the impetus for what started the Time War. You can easily make that connection, and I'm sure that's very intentional. And I think that the events of Remembrance of the Daleks here definitely would have been one of the pivotal moments that set that chain of events in motion. The Daleks by the end of this would be very justifiably pissed off with the Doctor and the Time Lords in general. So, yeah, pretty cool stuff. This is the debut story of a writer by the name of Ben Aronovich. Really cool guy from what I've seen in interviews. Very down-to-earth, matter of fact. Very, very funny as well. But he's got some great ideas, and apparently he didn't know a ton about Doctor Who when he first got the writing assignment. So he just immersed himself in Doctor Who lore and watched a lot of the big key stories and everything to really prepare himself for this properly. And boy, he just went all out, man. I honestly think that now this is not considered the official 25th anniversary story. That's one that's a little bit later. We'll talk about in a couple minutes here. But honestly, because of all the references to the past and all of the connections to the past that are throughout this story, I've actually always considered this to be the official 25th anniversary story, because I just think it fits more. I mean, you have the Daleks, old Daleks, like classic Daleks fighting new Daleks. You got there's like a Dalek civil war going on here as part of the main story. You got references to the first Doctor. The Doctor himself makes references to events from past stories. You have it takes place, a good chunk of the story takes place at number 76 Totter's Lane, In the original junkyard, what used to be the original junkyard, where the whole series started. It's great. There's just so many wonderful connections to the past, while at the same time setting events in motion that would carry on well into the future. Really cool stuff. Now, I should mention with this story, how last season the Seventh Doctor was being played mostly for comedy, and Sylvester McCoy himself wasn't happy with that. And he talks about that in some of the extras on here. And he talks about how, he approached the producer and said, yeah, I don't know that this is really sort of the kind of portrayal of the character that I would like to do as an actor. I don't think it's as interesting as what we could be doing. So they talked about it for a very long time. And what they decided, starting with the first story in this one, plus there was a lot of criticism about the previous season. Critics didn't really care for it. Fans were very divided about it. So they knew that something more had to be done. They were on the right track, but there needed to be some tweaking. So what they did was they toned the comedy aspects of it way, way, way down. He's still a very funny Doctor, just because Sylvester McCoy is a very funny actor. But they made his portrayal of the Doctor a lot darker in this one. His motivations are much more mysterious, and a lot of his actions are much darker than what we've seen before. And I think that works much better, actually, and also sort of serves as the seeds that set things up for a lot of what we see in current incarnations of the Doctor. A lot of you can't disagree that a lot of the current Doctors, the 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, definitely have a dark side to them. And I think, as far as the modern era of Doctor Who, that really started with the 7th Doctor, where we started to see hints of that. The other thing they wanted to do was bring back more of the mystery of the character. They felt that too much had been revealed about his past and about who he was and such. So they really wanted to bring some of the mystery back into it. So we begin to see that right off the bat with this, essentially with the Doctor's origins being mysterious, and just some of the remarks he makes in conversation hint that he's a little bit more important, perhaps, to the history of the Time Lords than what he's led on. And he may be more than just a Time Lord, that there's a little bit more to him than that. So very, very cool. I really, really like the direction that they were taking here. And it's a shame there's only 7 more stories to go for the classic series, because I think they had finally, after some very shaky seasons, they had finally got it fully back on track, and it was heading in a direction that would have, that could have potentially continued for a very long time, if not, continuously up until now. Who knows? Anyway, carrying on. Next up, we have, this one is another one that the fans are really divided on. We have story number 153. The Happiness Patrol. Yes, I mentioned last time a lot of people consider Paradise Towers the all-time worst Doctor Who story of all time. A lot of fans also consider this one of the all-time worst Doctor Who stories of all time. I think that's being overly harsh. I see the Happiness Patrol in much the same light as I see Paradise Towers, kind of as a dark satire. And it's actually a pretty blatant satire of Margaret Thatcher and the Thatcher era of government in the UK. So, pretty cool. Or Britain, rather. But, and you have, you get the TARDIS painted pink in this. You get, it basically takes place on a planet where happiness is mandatory, and sadness and depression is illegal, and you can be killed for it. So you have to be happy all the time, or else. Yeah, and you also have one of the weirdest villains ever in the history of the series, in the form of the Candyman, who's this robotic, servant of the main villain, who basically orchestrates all the executions and whatnot, and all the executions are very candy based, so people drowning in strawberry sundae sauce and stuff like that. And the Candyman himself is this robot who is part robot, but also composed almost entirely of licorice all sorts, like gigantic licorice all sorts make up his body. He's hilariously ineffectual, and and just so he's just such a blowhard, yet the Doctor manages to defeat him so easily, so often, and so frequently throughout this story that I find it hilarious. That he tries to be this menacing villain, and he's got this crazy design and like spinning spiral eyes and stuff, but the Doctor just like won't have any of that, you know. And yeah, so I've always enjoyed the Happiness Patrol. It's not without its flaws, certainly. I don't think it deserves all the hate that it gets. I think there's plenty to enjoy there. Now, carrying on, next up we have what is considered to be the official 25th anniversary story with Silver Nemesis. What can we say about Silver Nemesis? Well, it's okay. Story-wise, like plot-wise, it seems like kind of a rehash of Remembrance of the Daleks. It's almost the exact same plot in some respects, in terms of the mystery surrounding the Doctor and whatnot, and what he's doing there. So I don't know if that was just a coincidence that two writers just happened to have similar ideas, and they're like, whatever, we'll just go with it. Even Ace at one point says, when the Doctor, implements his full plan and the villains are defeated, Ace even says, "Oh, so you did this, just like with the Daleks." It's like, yes. What the hell? Why are we doing the same story twice in the same season? I mean, it's inevitable that a series that goes on this long is going to plunder itself from time to time. But within the same season? Really? Come on. So here you've got, so in the Remembrance of the Daleks, you had the Doctor dealing with the Daleks and trying to prevent them from getting the Hand of Omega, which was part of, I guess, one of Omega's tools for, harnessing the power of the black hole for time travel and all that stuff. Good old Omega. It always comes back to Omega. In this one, he's trying to prevent the Cybermen from getting their hands on the Nemesis statue, which is another sort of, it's not really a Time Lord artifact, but it's something that the Doctor had dealt with before. And there are some very interesting ideas in there, and I still enjoy the story quite a great deal. But to me, there's not enough looking into the past that we've seen to make it what I think is a proper 25th anniversary celebration story. To me, that definitely falls to Remembrance of the Daleks. So for me, Remembrance of the Daleks will always be the real 25th anniversary story. And I've talked to some other fans about that too, and we all seem to pretty much agree on that. That, yeah, the Remembrance is the one that really feels more like a celebration of all things Who up to that point, rather than whereas Silver Nemesis, where it does acknowledge the past, it acknowledges the Doctor's past and things that he's done that we've never heard about before. But again, it further it doesn't do this so much in the Happiness Patrol. The Happiness Patrol is just kind of an adventure with the Doctor and Ace, but Silver Nemesis definitely gets into again adding more mystery back to the Doctor and whatnot. So that's pretty cool. So you've got the Cybermen, you've got a group of neo-Nazis trying to start the Fourth Reich, and you've got this sort of sorcerer lady from 300 years or 200 years ago, whatever, coming into the present and getting involved in the whole mix as well. So pretty crazy story. Also very, very fast-paced. It's only 3 episodes long. Happiness Patrol is also 3 episodes. Remembrance of the Daleks is 4. And then finally, we end off with some creepy clowns and werewolf girls and a circus from outer space, and possibly some very, very old gods in the mix as well. A little bit of Lovecraft in here. We have The Greatest Show in the Galaxy, story number 155. And that is that. Now, pretty cool. This was another one that was kind of affected by industrial action. Good old strikes at the BBC yet again. But it actually worked in their favor, because that meant they had to do the whole thing. This is a story set in a circus on an alien planet. And they had to do the whole thing on location. They couldn't do any studio work. So they actually found this circus tent that they were able to use, and it had like proper wooden floors on the ground in the middle of the desert and stuff. It was perfect. It was absolutely perfect. And they talk about this in the extras. They say how like it actually worked out better than if they, because otherwise they would have done it all in the studio and it would have been obvious that they were in the studio and in a set and stuff like this. But in this they did all on location and it feels very genuine, like with the circus tent and the ring and the halls and everything that they run through. And you know, it's Doctor Who, there's plenty of running through corridors. And it works really well. Plus, you've got some really cool, like a really cool motley assortment of characters in here. You got the obligatory creepy clown. You got Ace dealing with some of her fears because she finds clowns more creepy than funny, and all sorts of cool stuff. They meet like this adventurer explorer guy who's all about saving his own skin and is a bit of a dick, and yeah, and it's just, it's a lot of fun. I had not seen that one for quite some time, probably since it originally aired, and just rewatched it recently for the first time, and I had forgotten just how good it is. This one does allow the Doctor to do a little bit of comedy stuff towards the end. But again, still very, very dark and serious throughout most of it. I mean, this is the first hint we see of the Doctor kind of dragging Ace, kicking and screaming, and forcing her to confront one of her fears, which is pretty heady stuff. You know, it's like I'm not just going to take you out on a wonderful adventure. I'm going to take you through your own fears and make you face them. I mean, that's pretty ballsy of the Doctor to do that, just to kind of force his companion to go through that kind of personal hell. Possibly with the best of intentions. Maybe he's got a little bit of a mean streak. Who knows? But I think it's with the best of intentions. I mean, the Doctor always looks out for Ace. And I have to say, by the way, Ace is a freaking fantastic companion. We got just a taste of her last season in her debut story in Dragonfire. But right from Remembrance of the Daleks, she shows just what a capable companion she is. And bless Sophie Aldred for doing the majority of her own stunts as well. She's really a gutsy actress who just goes for it. And the two of them together, the Seventh Doctor and Ace, I mean, that is the team right there. I mean, that they are just buddies, hanging out, having fun. They've got kind of a teacher-student thing going on, like the Doctor's teaching her stuff. She calls him Professor. She calls him Doctor when she's in danger, but normally when they're just having a conversation, she calls him the Professor. And then, yeah, it's just a great dynamic between the two. I mean, the two of them worked so well together. I mean, you look at the behind-the-scenes stuff as well, and it's clear that they just had a wonderful rapport and just worked really well, and that really shows through on screen as well. One thing about Silver Nemesis I should mention, I forgot to mention earlier, is there's some cool new extras on here, but one thing I'm really disappointed about is at the time when this aired, there was a wonderful hour-long documentary made called The Making of Doctor Who, which was all about the making of Silver Nemesis. It was produced by the New Jersey network, a PBS network out of New Jersey, and it was terrific. It aired on PBS here, well, where I was in Selkirk at the time, Selkirk, Manitoba, and it aired on PBS there, and thankfully I recorded it. And then they had a couple of bonus segments that were only aired once, where it was extended interviews with Chris Clough, the director, and with John Nathan Turner, the producer. John Nathan Turner himself, the guy who ran the whole thing at the time. So very, very cool. So basically about 2 hours worth of material there, that it would have been great to see that on this DVD. I mean, it would have been just some fantastic archival extras. Now, with the VHS release of Silver Nemesis, they actually did have that documentary on there. They didn't have the extended interviews, but they did have the main documentary, but with some of the segments about the music being cut out for some kind of rights issues. This is the the VHS release. And you may notice also it says that it's an extended cut. Yes, there was an alternate extended cut of Silver Nemesis on the VHS release. That also is nowhere to be seen on the DVD. So I don't know. It seems like for it being the big 25th anniversary story, it seems like it really kind of got shafted on DVD. Like I say, there's some cool new extras on here. There's some commentary, and they got a great making of special where they spend a lot of time talking to the writer Kevin Clark, who wrote the script. They got 22 minutes of deleted and extended scenes, so presumably everything that was in the extended version is in there. But it would have been nice to have that cut of the story as well, because I've never seen it. I've never owned that particular VHS tape, so more is the pity. And Remembrance of the Daleks, of course, is a special edition. Here's a look at the original release, which I originally had, actually, many moons ago. I do not anymore, but there you go. So that pretty much covers everything. Alrighty, so that is it for Season 25 of Doctor Who. It's only one season to go, folks. One season to go for the classic series, and then it's all over. Well, not really all over. We, of course, now have the new series, which has run almost half the length of the original series already. Can you believe it's been that long? Wow. Alrighty, that is it from me to you for now. So I'd just like to take a quick moment to thank my Patreon sponsors. Thanks, Patreon sponsors. You guys and gals are awesome. You are often awesome. Special big thanks to my two highest level sponsors, Kyle Pellegrini and Get Your Gorgeous On, run by Michelle O'Toole and Simon Hedger. Please do consider becoming a Patreon sponsor, because it just means I can do more stuff for you. So how cool is that? Alrighty, that is it from me to you for now. So until next time, thanks for watching, and sayonara.